Former President Trump was accompanied to the courthouse today by Republican Representatives Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert. Well, I get it. It's good publicity for Boebert and good practice for Gaetz. Oh, so this is what court's gonna look like. All right.
We really have become the Soviet Union, but with better technology, I guess, thanks to the patriarchy. And every morning, wake up and thank the patriarchy. The patriarchy rules. Boy, I tell you, we were just having a discussion moments before the show began about the truly excessive overabundance of news and information today. Normally, I have way too much for a 3-hour show. Today, I think I've got way too much for a 6 or a 7-hour show. It is a world gone mad. We have politics. We've got President Trump has the day off from court in New York today, and he will at long last be attending his son Barron's high school graduation, which is kind of nice. How about that? And that's the least of it. There is a great deal of crazy going on, but I'm happy that the president will be attending his teenage son, 18-year-old son, 6'7", graduating from high school. And then the next step, he was going to be a delegate at the Republican convention, but he opted out of that, I guess, last week. First it was he was going to be a delegate at the Republican convention, and then he said, I don't think I really want to do that. And boy, the Congress last night had a crazy time, as is rarely seen on Capitol Hill, and it's probably best that this sort of thing is rarely seen. But we've got Marjorie Taylor Greene stirred things up a little bit with a comment, and it led to we had that bartender, AOC, Alexander, hey, should just snap and say, vodka tonic over here, twist. That's but wait till you hear this crazy stuff on Capitol Hill, because it was quite wild. James Comer, the chairman, kind of jumped in, and he was trying to bring some calm, but it didn't work very well. Ana Paulina Luna, I always sing, Una Paloma Blanca to the Ana Paulina Luna name. But we've got lots of crazy going on Capitol Hill with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene and then James Comer and Congresswoman Crockett and Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna. Madness on Capitol Hill last night. A lot of sports news today about the field goal kicker, the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, Harrison Butker. He delivered a commencement address at a Catholic university, not this past Saturday. It was just this past Saturday. And it was, he talked about masculinity being good, about women who might want to start a family. And now he's being vilified, nay, crucified for it. And the lefties have started a petition onto which a great many thousands have signed, demanding that Harrison Butker be kicked off of the team of the Super Bowl. I think he's been in 3 successful Super Bowls. And they're demanding the petitioners that he be fired by the Kansas City Chiefs. And the NFL came out with a ridiculous statement about how his values are not their values because they're like communists, barbarians at the NFL, something like that. But wait till you hear this, because American values under assault, Western civilization under assault, and the left is the primary driver. Forget about radical Islam and Hamas, although we've got updates on Hamas as well, because there's plenty of madness still going on there, and the Democrat Party on the wrong side of all of this. Remarkable stuff. And a Reagan Institute person wrote a very interesting piece about all this, about what we ought to be doing with Hamas. And I've got to say, I think an awful lot of people are going to agree with it. Fascinating stuff we've got going on. Yeah, the Butker thing. And I've got, because people are playing a little clip or two, I want to play more of the Butker commencement address than most are going to share with you, to see what it is that the left finds objectionable in this commencement address to a Catholic university. Really remarkable things going on here. And it turns out in New York, even the media's watching a little bit. You can't watch it live because it's not on TV, the Trump trial in New York, and that's kind of sad because it'll be the highest rated trial since O.J. Simpson. But even the left-wing media like Manderson Pooper and his fellow travelers are saying, gee, it looks like our star witness, and they're doing everything but calling him our star witness. Wait till you hear the language. There are lots of tells in their language. MSDNC, CNN, saying, gee, it looks like our guy Michael Cohen isn't the most truthful person in the world. So we've got a lot of that going on. Crazy, crazy stuff. A story out of Quantico, the Marine Corps base at Quantico, Virginia, where Jordanian illegal aliens attempting to infiltrate the base, and we're acting like it's no big deal, like it's some illegal running a stop sign, when it looks like it's probably much more than that. Jordanian, it's an Islamic country, and I don't know if you had noticed this, but there's a jihad going on around the world. Crazy stuff. There was an incident in France overnight as well involving all of that. And we've got tens of thousands of Chinese nationals spilling into the United States of America illegally across our southern border. And, when President Trump was president, there were some Chinese sneaking into the country, a couple of hundred. And now there are tens of thousands, literally tens of thousands, just so far in this fiscal year. And since Joe Biden became president, the scale is multiple military divisions of Chinese nationals coming illegally into the country. Remarkable, remarkable stuff. Yes, sir. So we've got a lot going on. And in the world of golf, not just the NFL and Butker, but also in the Professional Golf Association, the PGA. Everything must be abbreviated. Everything has to be either an acronym or an abbreviation. Scotty Scheffler, who is pretty good at this game of golf. He won the Masters not so long ago. Scotty Scheffler arrested before start of round 2 of the PGA Championship. Louisville, Kentucky is the dateline. World number 1 golfer Scotty Scheffler was booked into a Louisville jail Friday morning after being detained. He was arrested. He's in an orange jumpsuit in a mugshot. Detained by police near the entrance of Valhalla Golf Club, the site of this week's 2024 PGA Championship. Scotty Scheffler, 27 years old, was booked shortly before 7:30 a.m., according to online records published by the Louisville Metropolitan Police Department and Department of Corrections. And he's being charged with second-degree assault on a police officer, which is a felony, as well as criminal mischief, reckless driving, and disregarding signals from an officer directing traffic. Now, ESPN reporter named Jeff Darlington witnessed the arrest, and he says that a misunderstanding with traffic flow led to Scheffler's attempt to drive past a police officer toward the golf course. Because, don't you know who he is? He's the world's number 1 golfer, and the PGA Championship's going on, and today's round 2, and he wants to get in there, and he's got a ritual before the round of golf and so on. The second round of play at Valhalla had been delayed, listen to this now, after a pedestrian was struck and killed near the entrance to the golf course, resulting in significant police activity in the area. Now, the question that remains unanswered at this point is whether Scotty Scheffler is a suspect in the, and it looks like it was hit and run. Now, Louisville police said, and Scheffler's agent did not immediately reply to messages from USA Today, from which I am reading, and seeking comment and more information. Scheffler, the reigning Masters championship, shot a 4 under par 67 in Thursday's opening round. They go right back to sports because they're sports writers, and that's fun. But the question, I guess, hangs right now as to whether it was Scheffler that was involved in a pedestrian being struck and killed. And that's a wide open question. I don't suspect or believe one way or the other. But according to the police, someone was hit and killed near the entrance of the golf course. Then Scotty was arrested, and assault on a police officer, criminal mischief, reckless driving, disregarding signals from an officer directing traffic. They should do that in Washington. Everybody would be in jail. And so that's kind of a big deal in the world of golf, to say the least. We have that going on today. Yes, sir. Yeah, it goes on and on. So there are just a few things we've got to share with you today. Again, the Quantico story is a big story, but Fox News reporting that 2 foreign nationals in ICE custody after alleged attempt to breach the entrance at a major Marine base. Foreign nationals initially directed to a holding area for additional vetting, but honestly, it's crazy. And then Afghan national with terror ties in federal custody after being released twice at the border, because I think the Biden administration wants us to be attacked by radical Islamic jihadis and by Chinese nationals and by illegal alien gang members. I think that the left wants chaos and the fundamental transformation of America. Just amazing stuff. So the Fox News people, Madeline Rivera, providing details on the apprehension of an Afghan migrant. Migrant is code word for illegal alien in the news media these days, who's on the terrorist watch list. Why would that be a problem? And boy, oh boy, the Biden administration is simply not on our side. And that's because the Democrats are simply not on our side. Boy. So, another day in America. Also, swing state voters tell MSDNC that Trump trial will not cause them to support Biden. Huh? What is that? That is, that's what the story doesn't say is they're talking about African-American voters, aren't they? They're talking about African-American voters. And Joe Biden is pandering to African-Americans again today. They've got black fraternities and sororities coming in, and he's going to throw money at black universities. President Trump already backed up when he was president, HBCUs, as they're called, historically black colleges and universities with tons of cash, lots and lots of cash. And now Joe Biden is jumping in because they are not doing well with black voters and black men in particular, because people are waking up to the realities as to what's going on in America today. Also, a fun moment outside of the Trump trial yesterday, when a van showed up, and a Trump supporting artist showed up outside the courthouse in a van and released, I believe, 100 penis-shaped Mylar balloons with the faces of Alvin Bragg, the crooked prosecutor, and Jose Merchan, the crooked Democrat judge, their faces on them. And the penis balloons, now he's going to be arrested and put in jail for, releasing Mylar balloons or something. They'll give him 22 years in prison, which they like to do. So remarkable stuff. Also, Joe Biden not doing well with the 18 to 29 vote. So the headline in the Washington Post today is, Biden announces support for Department of Justice measure to reclassify marijuana, because everybody's worried about getting busted for pot or something. So make pot more illegal, make terrorism legal again, make illegal aliens legal, make open border legal, make being a Chinese intelligence operative legal. I mean, how many Chinese agents can Eric Swalwell date? Well, there are a lot of other Democrats too, I wonder if they're all here to date Democrats and then help them get to the House of Representatives and the Intelligence Committee. 39 Secret Service agents demand investigation into Biden's Marxist DEI policies following an unusual assault by a female agent on a male superior. Remarkable stuff. Joe Biden is planning going to Morehouse College to deliver a commencement address, too. One of the students there calling it political blackface. Political blackface. Great stuff. But Joe Biden's going to throw $16 billion at black colleges because he's just shamelessly buying votes like the criminal that he is. Boy, there's a lot to talk about, and we continue to be at 888-630-9625.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
Bomb, bomb, bomb. All right, let's take a phone call, talk to the nice people, great Americans. It is a mad world out there. Let's go to Alan calling from Chantilly, Virginia. Alan, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris. Good morning, sir.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Boy, you covered like the whole world in about 15 minutes. It's amazing. That's what's going on. So, Chris, I'm calling about the incident on the Quantico Marine Base, which
yes, sir.
You covered in your monologue.
Uh-huh.
The only reason I called you is because, in general, our media is already in the tank for everybody else. They lack curiosity. So the main point I have here, immediately the headline is 2 Jordanian citizens are tried to get on the Marine Corps base. Number one, it's been 2 weeks ago. Why is it that we are finding this out yesterday? And because we're obsessed as a nation with Michael Cohen and what's her face, Stormy Daniels.
Right.
The main point on this is really are we so woke? Are we too afraid to ask if these are Palestinians? Because Jordan is the only country in the Muslim world who has granted full citizenship to Palestinians. Is it possible that one of these gentlemen who is on the terror watch list is actually Palestinian trying to seek revenge on our forces, on our government, or on our way of life? I have not heard anyone ask that question yet.
Well, you just asked it.
Politically correct.
You just asked it. Now, most Palestinians in Jordan, there are Palestinians in Jordan that have become naturalized citizens. I don't think they've granted to everybody because they don't want any more. They don't want any more in there. Look, yeah, this is potentially a big deal and a sign of, a broader issue that we have with our open borders and Joe Biden and the Democrats. You're correct. Now, Joe Biden and the Biden administration, and more broadly the Democrats, are, of course, a national security nightmare for the United States. We played the Barack Obama threatening or promising, if you're a Democrat, the fundamental transformation of America. I don't think most of us voted for the fundamental transformation of America, but the left is here. They're not liberals, keep in mind. They are the left, make no mistake about it. But since our first caller today, Alan, absolutely following the news and correct in everything that he said, let me share with you an update on this story because I first heard of it, I've got to say, day before yesterday, listening to the Vince Colonnese radio show on WMAL in Washington, D.C. Vince comes from a Marine Corps family, and he's on 3 to 6 on WMAL on the East Coast, Eastern Time. And he's a great guy, and his show is just a great show. It really is a great show. I love his show. And his father recently retired Marine Corps 2-star general, Major General, and also a great guy. I've had the privilege of meeting him several times, and just a great guy. But nevertheless, it was Vince that first told me about the Marine Corps base Quantico story day before yesterday, and I heard Vince talking about it again yesterday. Now, Fox News reporting last night, 2 foreign nationals in ICE custody after alleged attempt to breach at a major Marine base. Foreign nationals, they're foreign nationals, initially directed to holding area for additional vetting. Now, there's a lot that, and it's not the Marines that are being cagey so much as Joe Biden's ICE. And I've got a soundbite for you. I want to play the soundbite. It was, I believe that it was Griff Jenkins of Fox News asking the question of the ICE Immigration Customs Enforcement Deputy Director, and his name is Patrick Lechleitner. Lechleitner is his name, Lechleitner. Patrick Lechleitner, the number 2 guy, I believe, the deputy at ICE, and he was asked about this by Griff Jenkins.
Currently, they're in custody. They are in removal proceedings.
Crossers, were they illegally in the country, here illegally, and do we know more about that?
We can get in at a later date when we get some information out, but they are in removal proceedings currently.
So they're illegal aliens. So why don't we get into that now? I mean, it's a pretty good indicator that they're illegally in the country if Immigration and Customs Enforcement has them and they're in removal proceedings. That'd be a pretty clear indication that they're illegal aliens, but Lechleitner is not at liberty to tell the truth to the American people because he works for the Biden administration, and the Biden administration is engaged in an all-day, everyday cover-up of everything that they're doing. But the Fox News report, which has a lot of good stuff, and it's Adam Shaw, Griff Jenkins, and Bill Malugin writing the story at Fox News. 2 foreign nationals, wink, wink, Jordanians, are in Immigration and Customs Enforcement custody after an alleged attempt to breach a Marine Corps base this month. Officials confirmed Thursday, while not giving away any information because they don't want the Biden administration to look bad with their open border policies and waving millions of illegals into the country, even when they're on the terror watch list and they're from Jordan and they want the jihad to come home to the United States because, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, as the Democrat Party and Hamas like to say. The incident happened May 3rd. Today is May 17th. So Alan, who called in a short time ago, correct. Incident happened May 3rd at Quantico Marine Base in Virginia. A spokesperson for the base said 2 people in a box truck were stopped at the gate. Were they 2 young women from Indiana? No, they were 2 military-age men from Jordan, but that's not in the story yet. The driver allegedly told military police officers they were making a delivery to the post office and worked for a company subcontracted by Amazon. So they're engaged in a ruse. And now they should be in FBI custody. They should be, I'd like to think, they'd be waterboarded. Because, all things considered, I'd rather be waterboarding. So, hey, we're subcontractors for Amazon. We've got a box truck. We're going to the post office at Marine Corps Base Quantico, where all officers go through officer training and stuff. Because they had no affiliation to the base and no approved credentials, they were directed to a holding area for vetting. So, naturally, they sat there in the holding area while they're being vetted, right? No. It was at that time one of the military police officers noticed the driver, ignoring the direct instructions of the officers, continued to move the vehicle past the holding area and attempted to access Marine Corps Base Quantico. Spokesperson Captain Michael Curtis said in a statement. A great Marine Corps officer. Due to the swift response and execution of their duties, the officers were able to deploy the vehicle denial barriers. They might be pop-up barriers, they might be some other kind of barriers, prevent any further access to Marine Corps Base Quantico and detain the individuals. Were they beaten to the ground with rifle butts? Were they bayoneted? Did they get the fire hoses out? And turned over to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement custody. Now, again, why not FBI custody? Why not CIA? Why not, let's take them to Gitmo and give them the Perrier Spritz. I miss the Perrier Spritz. I love the Perrier Spritz. That's, when they strap you to board and pour a little water in your face to see if you got something to tell them. No injuries were reported, and officers did not report any weapons. What about in the back of the truck? Was there anything in the back of the truck, like a fertilizer bomb or anything like that? The alleged breach was first reported by the Potomac Local News. Isn't that interesting? On Thursday, Fox News asked acting ICE director, I think he's deputy director, Patrick Lechleitner, about the case, and he said he was familiar with the case and that two nationals, not saying what country, are in removal proceedings. I got to tell you, that's not what you do with a couple of Middle Easterners trying to sneakily gain access to Marine Corps base Quantico, where we train our Marine Corps officers to go to war against jihadis, by the way, and then what could be a couple of jihadis trying to get onto the base. ICE sources confirmed to Fox News that both suspects are Jordanian nationals. Lechleitner was asked if he could confirm reports at least one of them was on the terror watch list and if they were in the country illegally. I can't confirm anything like that right now. We're going to have to waterboard you now because you work for us. And if you're just asking them to leave the country so they can walk right back in again across our southern border, which is doubtless how these Jordanians, hey, anybody on the terror watch list? Hey, was there a fuel oil bomb, a fertilizer bomb, or a nuclear bomb in the back of the box truck they were driving? Did they steal the truck? Was it a rent-a truck? Because we, Western civilization and the United States of America, we have some experience with these things now. White House press secretary, such as she is, Cringe on Pierre, known as Cringe to her friends, was asked at a briefing about the incident, and she confirmed the two were in ICE custody. So I'm going to be really mindful, said Cringe. These two Jordanians that you're speaking of remain in ICE custody, and given that it's an active law enforcement matter, I would have to refer you to ICE. She's always got to refer you to some other government agency that doesn't have press conferences. Amazing stuff. In a statement to Fox News on Thursday evening, ICE Enforcement Removal Operations, we call them ERO, because everything has to be an abbreviation. Their spokesman, James Covington, said Marine Corps Base Quantico's Criminal Investigations Division arrested two Jordanian, quote, non-citizens, end quote, May 3rd for trespassing and later notified ERO because now we're all familiar with the abbreviation, so we have to, later in the sentence, we have to start using the government abbreviations all over the place. There are more abbreviations in common use today that like NSA members used in the 1990s. That'd be the National Security Agency. ERO's Criminal Apprehension Program then reported the arrested both individuals without incident. That's unfortunate, isn't it? They will remain in ERO custody, but they're not. They're in ICE custody. In whose custody are they? You guys don't tell the truth very much anymore. Our government lies to us all day, every day. So regardless of nationality, sure, ICE makes custody determinations on a case-by-case basis in accordance with U.S. law and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Then they put in parentheses DHS because everything's an abbreviation. And DHS policy, considering the circumstances of each case. Well, that's nice to hear. Honestly, our government is so full of hooey. Man, are they full of hooey. There's a lot of hooey going on in our government these days. Wow. Just extraordinary stuff. Man, oh, Manischewitz. Whew. So that is a big deal. That is something that's going on. And the Washington Post doesn't have this story, but they're not in the news business. They're not in the news business at all. The Marine Corps Times is also covering the story, and they were covering it before anybody else. They were covering it 3 days ago on the 14th. Two people in ICE custody after attempting to breach Virginia Marine Base. And Irene Lowenson writing the story for the Marine Times or the Marine Corps Times. And And they've got the, they had the story a couple of days ago, but CNN's not covering it. ABC's not covering it. The Washington Post is not covering it because it's not good news for the Democratic Party. That's the thing about our news media, is that they're filthy. They're filthy, corrupt, just extraordinary. And the Marine Corps Times notes also the number of Chinese nationals infiltrating the country. Chinese nationals have accessed military installations and other sensitive facilities in the United States around 100 times in recent years, sometimes by posing as tourists. And they always have cameras, hey, Wang, it's a parking lot, I mean, come on. So the Wall Street Journal reported in September of 2023, Chinese nationals infiltrating U.S. military bases more than 100 times, and that was the better part of a year ago. Pretty amazing things. And speaking of the Chinese nationals, where they have a lot of communists, it's China, The Chinese have infiltrated our southern border just so far in this fiscal year, all right? And the government, they don't use the Gregorian calendar. They have their own calendar because they're godlike in their powers. So they don't do this January 1st to December 31st thing. That would be too normal. And our government is not normal, that's for sure. But just since October of last year, beginning of the government year, unlike the planet Earth, our government has a different calendar. We've had 27,583 illegal alien Chinese at our southern border. 27,000, okay, so far in fiscal year 24. Now, let's keep in mind that Joe Biden's first year in office and Donald Trump was president 2021. Donald Trump was president until January 20th. In 2021, there were 342 Chinese nationals nabbed at our southern border. So far this year, 27,583. Think there's anything to see there? Chinese nationals don't just saunter out of communist China like it's the United States and their U.S. citizens or anything like that, because it's a communist hellhole country and they can't just leave on their own. So when you've got, and it's the same was true last year and the year before, because Joe Biden is opening up our borders to everybody. The increase from 2021 to 2024 is 7,965%. That's the increase. Nearly 8,000% increase in Chinese nationals sauntering across our southern border. And the Chinese are buying up land in the United States of America too. And this number is from the end of 2022. But the Chinese communist nationals have bought more than 349,000 acres of agricultural land. They call it agricultural land, usually near U.S. military bases. Just amazing. This is going on, and our news media is not covering it because our news media is the most corrupt institution in the United States of America. Just amazing. Another crazy story today. The creepy lawyer, Michael Cohen, who is the Democrats' key witness in the lynch mob trial against that Soviet-style Joseph Stalin trial, trying to jail the political enemies of the Democrat Party, in this case, Donald Trump. Then they'll start working on the rest of us. They're going to have to build big camps on these Chinese agricultural lands, I think, the Democrats are. But Michael Cohen has a new pal, and his new pal is Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell and Michael Cohen, what is going on with that? That is coming up in today's big radio broadcast, and we continue to be at 888-630-9625.
Rosie, big, fat, lesbian, loud Rosie.
Here's an article from March 25th of 2024, posted by the Association of Mature American Citizens. China behind superhighway that targets U.S. with mass migration, economic warfare. And we're talking about in Panama. And the Chinese are in there plowing through the jungle in the Darien Gap, which is a primary entry point for millions of people flowing into the United States, and the Chinese are our enemy. But they gave the Biden family millions of dollars, so they're in good shape with them. Let's go to the telephones. They're not on our side. They're here to dominate the world in the 21st century and to destroy the United States, which is step one in dominating the world. And the Democrat Party is pretty much on their side. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Mike calling from South Riding, Virginia. Michael, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hi, Chris. Good morning.
Hey.
You're talking about the Chi-Coms. One thing that, of course, if you have two brain cells to rub together, which means you're not a Democrat, we got 20-some-odd thousand Chinese men and women coming across the southern border. Okay, that's the equivalent to about almost 3 infantry divisions. The Chinese are all migrating toward the West Coast, the ones that are coming across illegally. Now, what do we have on the West Coast? We've got naval bases, we've got Army bases, we've got Air Force bases. Now, if China decides to go into Taiwan, and I have no doubt if she wants to take Taiwan, she can do it within a week. She's going to coordinate, because all these people that come across, I guarantee you, are all in the PLA. They're just going to use they're going to coordinate with these people. These people are going to attack those bases and tie down U.S. forces in country here, so we can't reinforce Pacific Fleet or any of the Army units in the Pacific to go to Taiwan's defense. Okay. Also, all of this farmland that they're buying conveniently outside of U.S. bases in the Midwest, again, missile bases, Air Force bases, whatever, I guarantee you they've smuggled in electronic warfare equipment and are monitoring signals. And again, this isn't classified. You just have to know what the heck you're talking about, which leaves out most Democrats. They're gonna jam signals. They're gonna jam comms. They're gonna jam anything that will prevent movement of U.S. forces even across the country.
Well, you're certainly right to not assume that this is all benign. That's for sure. And our administration should be assuming that. They've had these probing things with the balloons. They're commies.